the jury is here, oh, the one juror is here now, and so they're ready to go. So please bring him in. Mr. Orman, if you would approach, please, so I can give you the exhibit back, exhibit P-TR-1227. And then at one of the breaks, we'll address the potential redactions, okay? Thank you. Please be seated, everyone. Good morning, members of the jury. I hate to do this to you because you just got here and I know you waited for us. One of you was running late today, and so we decided that we would make use of the time while we were waiting for that juror, and the attorneys and I then did some work that we had to do anyway outside your presence, and it went a little longer. And so I know that the juror who was late was here at about 10 after 9 or so, but we went a little longer than that, and I appreciate your patience. I know that you just got here this morning, but I have been handed a note, and I need to take something up outside your presence again. So my apologies. So I'm going to send you back, and then we'll come and get you when we're ready for you, okay? Thank you. Please remember all my advisements. They all apply during the break. Thank you. Please be seated, everyone. Folks, I need to step down for 2 minutes, and so I'm going to do that for 2 minutes. Don't go too far, just a couple of minutes, okay? The court will be in recess for a couple of minutes. Thank you. Proceedings because one of the jurors handed my staff a note that my staff then handed to me that I knew we would have to discuss. And what I'm going to do is, Doctor, I'm going to have you step down because we have to deal with this issue that doesn't concern your testimony. Thank you. This is a note that I have marked as question form number 173. It's from juror number 673, and it reads as follows. I'm not sure if this is something you need to know, but I think the juror in seat 9, who is juror number 872, I just added who is juror number 872, may or may not be reading the news on this case. She said it came up on her Facebook feed. She has said that they've tried to call a mistrial, and also that the attorneys aren't allowed to have phones anymore. She said one of the attorneys posted on Twitter that he or she hoped the jury saw part of the video and the judge was mad. I don't know if this is I don't know if this info is true or not, and wasn't sure if you needed to know. Juror 673. So in light of that, I think what we have to do is, or what I propose doing is bringing in juror 673 first, having me ask her more questions about when this happened, where it happened, and who else was present. And then we proceed from there. Is that, does that sound sensible to the people?
Yes, sir.
To the defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's bring in juror number 673, please. The record should reflect that juror number 673 is not present in the courtroom. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
How are you?
We'll see after this.
Okay. Thank you for your note. I appreciate you letting me know about this. You did the right thing. That's the first thing I wanted to do. I have some questions for you about this. When did this happen?
Yesterday?
At what time? What part of the day?
It was either late into the lunch break or the afternoon break. I'm not sure.
And it was a one-time event?
Yes.
And it sounds like it's you said that the juror in seat 9 said some things that lead you to wonder whether she is reading the news or not. Is that correct?
Yes.
So these are statements that you yourself heard juror number 9 make?
Yes.
Do you know who else was present when she made those statements? Actually, before you tell me that, where was this?
In the juror assembly room on the patio.
On the patio? Mm-hmm. Okay. And how many, in addition to you and in addition to her, what other jurors were present?
There were 2 others.
2 others?
The one...
Without mentioning their names, because we don't want to mention their names, can you either tell me their juror numbers or their seat numbers, or can you describe them for me?
Juror number 8, or in seat number 8.
All the way at the top in the first row?
Yes. And then third one over from here, so I don't know.
Okay, so the third one over would be in seat number 19, and that would be juror number 412. And in juror number 8 would be juror number 495. And do you know whether they heard the comments?
I think so. I believe so.
You believe so? What makes you think so? Were they close to the juror who made the statements?
Yes, we were all standing around in a circle.
Did anyone else say anything else?
No.
Did anyone respond to the juror sitting in seat number 9, who is juror number A72?
Not anything more than O or something like that.
What was it?
O.
Oh,
Just something to respond to a statement.
did they both do that or just one of them?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
No.
But you think that they both would have been within a short enough distance that they would have heard this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No.
No? Let me have you step out for just a moment, okay?
Oh, I got it.
Actually, let's bring her back one more time, please. Thank you. Thank you for coming back. The record should reflect that juror number 673 has returned again. Did you take any action based on that information that was said by that juror, juror number 872?
No, I didn't say anything or do anything except for write that note this morning.
Okay. And you didn't look anything up on the internet or do any research or try to find out whether what she was saying was true or not?
No.
You took no action?
No.
Okay. Anything about what you heard that you think affects your ability to be a fair and impartial juror in this trial?
No.
As you sit here, are you still confident that you can be fair and impartial throughout this trial?
Yes.
And do you think you're going to feel curious about trying to find out if this information is true or not, and that's going to lead you to violate one of my rulings?
No, sir. Honestly, I'm not curious at all. I just feel really bad.
But no, you should not feel bad at all. You've done nothing wrong. And in fact, I appreciate you telling me about this. You did the right thing. But you think you'll be able to comply with all my rulings?
Yes.
And have you complied with all my advisements and admonishments so far?
Yes.
And you're confident that you'll be able to continue to do that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me have you step out for just a moment. Let me talk to the attorneys, and then we'll come. We'll come and get you in just a little bit. All right. It seems to me, based on what she's saying, and she comes across as very credible. I find her to be very credible. It seems to me that that the juror sitting in seat number 9, juror number A72, appears to have violated one, if not more, one of my advisements. I'm also concerned to some extent that jurors 495 and 412 didn't say anything about it. It appears that they heard something and didn't say anything. That's concerning as well. So the question is, what do we do at this point? So let's take juror number 673 first. Are there any other questions that the prosecution is requesting that I ask juror number 673 at this time?
The only question I can think of, Your Honor, would be to inquire as to whether the note that she gave you contained the complete amount of information that was disclosed in this, I'll call it a conversation.
I think that's a good question. Any other question?
I think Your Honor covered the other questions I would have wanted when you brought her back in.
All right. Mr. King, any other questions that you think would be appropriate for me to ask juror number 673 at this time?
Judge, I'm requesting a brief recess at this point so that we can discuss this amongst ourselves and have a thoughtful response. This is too important to rush through, frankly.
I agree, and I'll give you some time, but in terms of just asking the question that Mr. Orman requested, do you have any problem with me doing that?
I have no objection to asking that question, no.
Okay, I will ask that question, and then I'll give you a recess, okay? All right, let's bring her back, please. The record should reflect that juror number 673 is back in the courtroom. I have an additional question for you. Is the information that you provided in your note complete in terms of everything you heard from the juror sitting in seat number 9, juror number 872 yesterday?
Can I look at it again?
Yes. Could you please give her the note back? It has my name on it now and the date, and I have marked it with a number, the question form number, but you can ignore that, okay?
Okay.
And take your time reviewing it, and then let me know whether there's anything you need to add or change.
It's in terms of the Twitter comment or whatever. She had said that one of the attorneys had posted onto Twitter that, did you see that part? I hope the jury saw that part of the video. And then I guess she had said that he or she, I'm not sure, got in trouble for that and said that they meant it as a text message, but that's as far as it goes.
Anything else?
No.
She did not identify the attorney?
No.
And she did not identify whether it was a he or she?
No.
Did she identify which side or which party?
No.
No? She didn't identify whether it was a prosecution or defense attorney?
No.
No? Okay. Any other information that you can remember?
No.
Does the additional information that you just provided change your answer in terms of whether you're still confident that you can be a fair and impartial juror in this trial?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't at all?
No.
Okay. All right. I'm going to have you go back to the jury room, but would you promise me that you will not discuss with any jurors anything about the note or anything about my questions or anything about the discussion that we've had here just now? Will you promise me that?
Yes.
Okay. Do not discuss it with any of the other jurors. You understand?
I understand.
Okay. And you're saying that the other two jurors were two jurors that you believe were present when these statements were made?
They were.
And this was yesterday?
Yes. I think, let me change it. I think the mistrial one was about a week ago.
And who made that statement?
Same one. I'm not sure though. I mean the
And when was that made?
during one of the breaks or lunch. I'm not.
Last week?
I think so.
And do you remember where?
Same place,
Same place? And do you remember who was present?
same people.
Same people. And do you remember what it is that she said?
Just that I'm not sure who she was referring to, were trying to call a mistrial. I honestly can't expand because I don't know what's going on in any of it. I just can only tell you what I heard.
And that's all I'm asking. And will you promise me that, again, you will not discuss this with any other juror?
Yes.
And will you promise me that you will not attempt to look any information on the internet or through any means to try to find out whether any of this is accurate or not?
Yes.
Okay, and you haven't done that, right?
No.
So you don't know at this time whether what she has said is accurate or not?
I have no idea.
Okay. All right, let me have you step out again, okay? Thank you. Okay, the record should reflect that juror number 673 has now stepped out of the courtroom. Mr. King has asked for a break, and I said that I would give him a recess, and I'm going to do that. Does anybody have an objection to me bringing the jury back in and just letting them know that there is something I need to talk to counsel about outside their presence, and then go over the advisements again to make sure that they're not talking to each other about the case or anything related to the case?
We don't object to that, Your Honor.
Mr. King?
I don't have an objection to that, Your Honor.
All right. Approximately how long do you think I should tell them? A half hour?
I think a half hour would be sufficient, Your Honor.
Sufficient? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Let's bring the jury back in, please. Please be seated, everyone. The record should reflect that the jury has joined us again. Welcome back, folks. Thank you for your patience this morning. Sometimes during trials, as you know, I have to discuss things with the attorneys, scheduling things, legal things, administrative things, and sometimes we have to take our time with things, and this is one of those. And so I wanted to bring you back in to tell you that there are some things I need to talk to the attorneys about outside your presence, and so I'm going to give you a longer break so that you're not just waiting, wondering what's going on, okay? So we're going to take a longer break. Since we're going to take a longer break, I brought you in so I can give you the advisements to make sure that you all remember them and to make sure that you follow them. I know that you know them, but you have to follow them. Each and every one of these advisements is critical, and if even one of you violates a single advisement, it can create problems. So let me go through them again, and I appreciate your indulgence. Number one, please do not discuss any aspect of the case with each other through any means. You're free to talk with each other, but not about the case. Do not talk about anything related to the proceedings or anything related to the case. In addition to not being able to discuss the case with each other, you may not communicate about the case with anyone else through any means. That includes your spouse or significant other. All you can tell people is that you're on a jury in Arapahoe County and that we're anticipating that the trial will last until August or September. Number three, please do not talk with any witnesses, parties, or attorneys about anything, whether related to the case or not. Number four, to make sure that witnesses, parties, and attorneys do not talk to you, please make sure you always wear your juror badge and that it is visible to all those around you. Your juror badge will also reduce the risk that people will talk about the case in your presence. If you hear someone talking about the case, please remove yourself from that location immediately. And if despite your best efforts you happen to overhear something about the case, let my staff know that right away. You're not allowed to hear anything about the case. And so if despite your best efforts you happen to inadvertently hear something about the case, you need to let my staff know that you want to talk to me. Don't tell my staff what it is you want to talk about. Just say, hey, I need to talk to the judge. Next is, please do not talk to any members of the media about anything. And when I say anything, I mean anything, not just things related to the case. Next, you must not read, view, or listen to any news or media reports that may refer to the case. Because there is media coverage of this trial, you must be particularly vigilant while listening to the radio, watching TV, reading the newspaper, or using the internet. You're not allowed to get any information from an outside source, whether it's the media or some other information. You cannot visit any locations mentioned in the case or conduct your own investigation outside the courtroom. That means that you cannot consult any treatises, dictionaries, books in relation to your jury service in this case. You cannot visit any locations that you may hear mentioned. You cannot start forming any opinions about the case. You must keep an open mind, and you must be mindful of the fact that the defendant is entitled to the presumption of innocence, and that presumption of innocence remains with them and must be given effect by the jury throughout the trial. Neither sympathy nor prejudice for the prosecution or the defendant may affect any of your decisions in this case. And remember that the attorneys have a job to do, and sometimes they have to make objections or request bench conferences. That's part of their job. Don't hold it against them. If they do that, they're doing their job. And do not read anything improper into any of my rulings in terms of, oh, the judge must like this side better, or the judge must be going for that side. I'm neutral. I'm not for either side. I'm not going with either side. I'm just doing my best to apply the rules of evidence and other applicable rules of law. All those advisements are extremely important. I know I said that to you the first day you were here, and I repeated it 3 times, and I did it for a reason. They are extremely important, and I wanted to emphasize it to you. So you need to follow each and every single one of these advisements, all right? So with that, let's go ahead and give you a break for a half hour. I'm hoping that we can take a shortened lunch break to make up for the lost time, but I wanted to let you know that we needed some time to work on some things outside your presence. rather than just have you there guessing what's going on, okay? So enjoy the break, but please follow all my advisements. Thank you. Cheryl? Yes, yes. The record should reflect that the jury has exited the courtroom. Please be seated, everyone. Mr. King, what I was going to propose is planning to meet back here in about 15 minutes or so, and so we can chat. Would that give you enough time? And then we can decide where to go. Do you want 20 minutes?
Judge, we can try. I thought the court was going to give us 30 minutes.
Well, I'm giving the jury 30 minutes, but then we're going to have to figure out where we go from here. So
Why don't we go with 20 minutes then?
20 minutes, see if 20 minutes is enough. If it's not enough, then you can tell me that you need more time. But I'm hoping that 20 minutes will give you enough to tell me how you would like to proceed, and same with the people. And then we can figure out where to go. I will give this some thought as well. Mr. Orman.
Your Honor, this may help with the court's research. I know counsel's going to do some research. I just looked on Westlaw very quickly. I did find one Colorado case. It's not exactly the same circumstance, obviously, but it seems to lay a framework for the court's inquiries in this, and it's People versus Moore, M-O-O-R-E, 321 Pacific 3rd, 510, from the Court of Appeals in 2010. Looks like it was reversed on other grounds by the Colorado Supreme Court, 321 Pacific 3rd, 5. Actually, I wrote the same citation down twice. There's also an American Jurisprudence, Section 1400, second edition, called Necessity or Discretion to Question Jurors, which seems to bring in law from around the country on this question.
Okay, thank you. Mr. King, we'll see you and the prosecutors back here in about 20.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, the court will be in recess.
Please rise.